Greetings, everyone. Lawrence Sandler here from 3D Crystal, Cockpit 3D. We once again have Mr. Riaz with us, getting a lot of questions around certain themes and topics. So once again, I'm going to pin him down and see if we can get some answers and some clarity. So for today, the thing I'm getting asked a lot is, when the pandemic kind of started, early 2020, obviously retail died. The malls, any kind of retail foot traffic setting obviously just died with all the lockdowns. So the online channel, which was already on the upswing, just kind of exponentially got more popular because there was no choice. We were all stuck at home and we had to shop online. So the online channel took off. Then the pandemic kind of, subsided somewhat before Omicron and some of the other variants, and reopenings, the malls reopened. And then you and I have discussed this, the trend kind of now people kind of want to get out of the house. They don't want to shop online anymore. And now we see that the whole retail foot traffic mall setting is arguably overtaking the online channel. So a new person getting into the 3D Crystal business, they've got to, decide how to, divvy up their budget and how many eggs to put into which basket. Do we go more retail? Do we go more online? Omni-channel still should be the right answer, but I'm going to hand it over to you to see if you can kind of give us some clarity around that. What are you seeing out there?
Okay, let's take it back to 2010, and let's just preface this by saying we're going to talk about specifically the 3D Crystal products, so not retail in general, but the 3D Crystal product, which we have actual data and numbers on, right? So if we go back to 2010, the amount of revenue that was being generated at a retail kiosk, just a small little cart in a mall, was significant. Call it upwards somewhere around the $400,000 revenue per year, okay, on a small little cart in the mall. And then as time went on, and as everybody knows, from a generic point of view, was that mall businesses were suffering because online, a lot of people started purchasing on Amazon and online. And so, as you move closer to 2016, 2017, 2018, the transactions at the 3D Crystal kiosks in the malls were reducing compared to what they used to be. So now, instead of hitting the $400,000 a year revenue point, they'd be hitting somewhere between $250,000 to $300,000. Now, let's be clear that $250,000, $250,000.
That's gross sales, right?
Gross sales, but still $250,000 on a cart business that you're running for your own business, meaning that not only are you generating revenue, but you're also paying yourself a salary, and still you're ending up with a sizable, very healthy net profit, is a fantastic number. But of course, if you take a look at the operator, the mall operator in 2010 that was doing 400, that same operator in 2017 or 18 doing $250,000 to 300,000 feels like they've lost 25, 30, 35% of what they used to do. So they're not as excited about the revenue that they're generating. The new person that enters in 2018 and is cranking out to $250,000 feels like they're at the top of the world, right? So it's all relative. We got to put things into perspective. Is the person that's been historically doing retail in a mall, and when they compare their sales to what it is closer to 2020, they're not as excited as the new entrant, okay, who's hitting their $250,000 in revenue. Now, you're right. COVID hits and everything closes down. And so a huge amount of business, anybody that was positioned well for e-commerce was laughing to the bank because, they had a shop online where they were able to market that store. People were at home on their phones. And
social media,
any sort of way to get your website in front of their face. That traffic would be driven to your website. There's government subsidies. They need to spend. They want to spend. They want to feel happy. This is a happy product, right? It's celebrating life. It's celebrating special moments in life with people that you care about and love. And so it does 3D Crystal. The 3D Crystal product does extremely well online during the pandemic. Exceptionally well. Now what happens is that things open up. So that was 2020. Now in 2021, malls open up, tourism opens up, and people are traveling again. And now there's a very, very interesting observation is that that original mall operator who was excited in 2010 is now excited again, because now they're seeing numbers that they tasted back then. The retail dip where people said that the mall business is dying, COVID has essentially, yeah, it killed the mall for that 1 year, but it's almost like it gave CPR to the mall, it resuscitated the mall, and now the mall is full of life again. And you have people that want to go out, that want to spend time with their families in the mall, that want to purchase in person, face to face. Okay. And Lawrence, I know you, in fact, incentivize people who take the time to physically buy from your shop as opposed to going online. So what's happening now is that you end up with the mall operator that was excited in 2010, starting to hit those numbers again in 2022, 2021, 2022. And that is the observation of what's happened in retail, is it's gone like that and like that. Now, as far as the web is concerned, website business continues to be strong, but of course there's this, there's a bit of an inverse relationship is that if more people are now going to start going out and spending in the mall, it's taking away from the market share of that customer that would have bought online. And that's why our favorite buzzword, what is it, Lawrence?
Omni-channel.
Omni-channel. That's why omni-channel is so important, is that you've got to have the flexibility, and you have to prepare yourself to being able to take orders, both whether it be in a kiosk in the mall, which I highly encourage. If you've been an online seller, if you've been a seller that's kind of dabbled with some tabletops here and there, I'm highly encouraging you to really consider going to a mall that has good traffic. And, we have a team of people that are well veteraned in mall retail, and you can always reach out to us and we can assist you in this. But if you've been focused on kind of dabbling in some of the less risky areas of seasonal tabletops or weekend tabletops or just online, I'm highly encouraging you to really consider going into the mall, because when you have that kiosk, and I'm not saying get an inline store, don't do that, get the kiosk or the cart in the middle of the mall where people are bumping into you, they're walking into you, they're getting a chance, you're front and center of being able to showcase your product, where they can pick it up, feel the weight, interact with you, that you can build a relationship with them.
So that's quite interesting. Inline, which is more expensive, versus the cart or the kiosk, which is less expensive. I think you've said it to me before. With the kiosk, you get the bathroom traffic. You get the food court traffic. You don't have to make an effort to get them to come into your inline store, because they're going to organically pass by if you're strategically placed. So that's an interesting dynamic.
Exactly. I think it depends on the mall in terms of where they're going to price you. Sometimes they want you to take that inline spot because they want you to commit to X number of years. And so on the grand scheme of things, your monthly might end up less with an inline store. And when I say inline, for those that aren't familiar with the terminology, it's all those stores along the side that you have to walk into. That's challenge number one, is when you have an inline store now, your first challenge isn't even getting them to see your product, it's getting them to actually walk into your store. And then the second thing is to get them to stay in your store and interact with the product and not leave without buying. Versus when you're in a cart or a kiosk, it's worth the premium. If the mall is going to charge you extra for it, pay it. But it's worth the premium. Not only is it seasonal, not seasonal, but I mean to say that you're not having to sign a 3-year contract. You can do it with a 1-year contract, and you're able to also have an escape clause where if you needed to leave, you'd be able to leave without much penalty. So that's one benefit, is that you're hedging your risk. But secondly, is that even if there's a slight premium on it, you're front and center. People are walking into your product. There's nothing better you could ask for than to have them as they're, near the bathroom, near the food court, and in a place where you're going to get maximum exposure.
There's a third benefit, actually, but you finish. Go ahead.
You definitely want to consider this, because in today's world now, again, it's about omni-channel. It's about not just having the person going to your website and buying from you. Is not just about those, outbound calls that maybe you're making to try and get leads to purchase from you. It's not just about knocking on the door, which is very difficult to do, but it's an amazing skill to have. It's not just about knocking on the door and trying to do sales that way, but it very much is about, having that retail spot where people also feel confident in knowing that, hey, this business is stationed here. They're a permanent business that's invested, and they're a full-timer in doing this. They're not just kind of someone doing it off the side as a hobby. And it really makes a difference in terms of the transactional size as well, and what they're going to spend with you.
The third benefit I thought of while you were speaking was the kiosk is a little bit more pandemic proof. If there's restrictions, the store may be only allowed to have 6 people in at a time. If you have a kiosk cart, you're out in the middle. There are no such restrictions. People can still see and gather around your products. So a little bit more pandemic proof. I don't like to talk that way, but it's
Well,
just
that's
a
a
little
well thought, profound point. No, you're right.
Yeah.
Is that you're not restricted in terms of the number of people that come into your store. The restriction happens at the mall doors and how many people are allowing into the mall, but you're still getting that exposure. And that would be a temporary benefit. Hopefully, I say temporary because we don't want the pandemic running for very long. But but the key thing is that what I can tell you is that the number of people, you know, how so many people have really gone through a lot of difficulty during the pandemic. People have lost the shirt off their back. They've lost their jobs. Many people have lost their businesses, especially if they're running a fitness center or, you know, a lot of the restaurants, the bars. I mean, all these people have lost a lot of business. And it's questionable whether they'll even be able to recover and come back. Some of these entrepreneurs, they're out of it. They've had to give up their lease spots. However, in the 3D crystal world, it's been opposite. Is that people have, you know, the owners have celebrated their ability to outperform and do exceptionally well during this challenge, and gear themselves up, position themselves up to be in a position where now, as the pandemic hopefully, you know, transitions away, they now are running a very strong business that they can expand. Because I'm telling you that once you taste it, and this is the brilliance about this, I mean, this product, once you taste it, the happy customers that are picking up the product and loving what you do, you're not selling old vacuum cleaners. You're selling such a beautiful product that touches the emotion of people. And when you taste that reaction, and when you taste the revenue and the net margin that you're able to achieve from this product, then you're going to want to expand. You're not going to want to just stay with one location. You're going to want to go out into the next mall and into the next mall and into the next mall. And that's where we're here to help you. Whether it's utilizing the Laser Hub to manufacture for you, whether it's using Cockpit 3D software to do modeling yourself, if that's what your interest is, whether it's employing lasers, because if you might find yourself in a position where you want to manufacture, whether it's raw material. I mean, all of these things are what we're able to provide to you so that you can be out there winning and doing what you do best, which is building your business.
Well, that's a great way to close. So let me just summarize. You need to be able to pivot as a business. You can't have tunnel vision from a sales channel perspective. So if one channel's hot, pivot. Don't abandon the other channel, but pivot. You need to be a chameleon out there, right? So that's what I'm hearing. Just keep on top of the trends. But what I'm also hearing is, pandemic or otherwise, there's no shortage of buyers for this product. The channel just shifted from whether it was more online or more retail or more online, pandemic or otherwise. The message is there's no shortage of buyers for this product. So we'll leave it at that. Thanks everyone for watching. So once again, like this, give us your feedback. We want to make more of these. Give us ideas for topics that you want us to discuss. Any other parting words from Riaz, and we'll call it a wrap. We'll wrap.
Lawrence, I just want to say one thing here is that the number of phone calls I got from 3D artists, from mall operators, from laser operators, from tourist locations, the number of phone calls I got in March of 2020 with people concerned about them being able to survive with their 3D crystal shop was, it was such a stressful position to be in, because I have to play this role of parting them with truth, but at the same time keeping them motivated, because what I'm telling them is what's going to keep their spirits high or dampen their spirits completely. So I had to, how do I tell them the truth? And I don't know what the future is. So this was a very, very challenging position for me personally to be in, with so many people asking this question, is what's going to happen with my 3D crystal business now that there's closures and there's lockdowns? And in hindsight, what I can tell you And what's so refreshing is that the fact that we were tested with COVID to see how strong is this business in selling customized 3D laser etched crystals.
That's not cheap.
That's not cheap. We thought we're at the end of the line. I mean, people are gonna have to pay rent, they're gonna have to pay for food, they're losing their jobs. We're at the end of the line in terms of where they're gonna buy. And if they have to buy a gift, they'll buy a box of chocolates. They're not gonna buy, you know, a $20 box of chocolates or $10 box of chocolates versus a $200 3D crystal. But I'm telling you, Lawrence, is that in conclusion now, fast forward, looking back, it's only made us as a community so much more confident in this product, knowing that we were able to outperform during a pandemic and keep not only keep the business alive, but the number of people that joined the industry. Lawrence, you know it. You're the one.
That's true. That's true. We brought on
so many.
A lot of new wholesalers in 2021. Yeah.
Right. And so the number of people that came on and that did well and that now are geared to continue this business is just phenomenal. And so you know, that's really heartwarming. But yeah, we'll end it there. And I want to thank you, Lawrence, for taking the initiative. I know that it's been hard to get a hold of me and to do these over the last few months, but you've been persistent and you've booked this. And I want to thank you for doing that, because this is really something that I love to do. And that's why I make the time is that when we're able to provide knowledge to the industry and we're able to provide education to people, whether it be from a technical standpoint, as in some of the other sessions that we've done, or just from a business building standpoint like this one here, that's really what is the most rewarding. So thanks for
excellent. My pleasure. Thank you
for spearheading this. All right, please do subscribe, like, and share. And guys, thank you so much for watching. Take care.
Thank you.